So with all the new games that are planning to come out, such as Neverness to Everness, Arknight's Enfield, Project Mugen, if that thing is still even a thing, I thought it would be interesting to find out what you guys would be interested in seeing from Wuthering Waves going on in the future to make it stand out and keep it more interesting for you as players going forward. So I asked my Twitter followers to see what they had to say, and this is what they responded with. So what I asked is, with all the new gacha games coming out in the coming year, what do you think Wuthering Waves needs to do to stay relevant and distinguish itself from the rest? And actually there was a response here, one of the first responses I got, and I responded to it, but they didn't really feel too confident. If I remember correctly, they said something like, be a good game, or just be good. I'm like, okay, sure. And how do you think they go about doing that? So, but apparently they couldn't really back their word. So they just deleted their post, because of course they did. This one here is from Siren, who some of you may know out there, and she says, we need more mini events. Not exactly the same as mini games, mini events where we get to interact with the cast and see more of their personalities outside of being in love with Rover. It would be cool to see them interact with each other and have more moments to shine. I think the writers should aim for us to fall in love with every character. Emotional attachment is a huge factor, I think, in Love and Deep Space success, for example. Which is true, I can see what she's saying, because a lot of the stuff that we've seen from the other characters is how they interact with the main character so far. But it'd be more interesting to see like how they interact with each other. Maybe we can do something where we have particular character story quests where Rover basically isn't involved at all, and we have to control that character as the main character through their story. We can have like little mini stories following them and their story, and see what they're getting up to in this post-apocalyptic landscape. I think that would be pretty interesting. Okay, Bitex, he says, just be more interesting. Okay, seriously, make interesting and unique characters with niches, not just heavy attack DPS, skill DPS, liberation DPS, basic DPS, heavy attack buffer, skill buffer, liberation buffer, basic buffer. It's boring. I'm not entirely too sure, like, exactly, again, how does he want them to make it more interesting? And he added and dorms. Okay, so for those that wanted more of, like, say, Serena Teapot type content, then he's asking for something similar to that in Wuthering Waves. Okay. Sentient Nihility says, just be itself, or at least try not to become too much like other games or trends that it loses its own identity. And I asked them, what would you want them to improve or implement? And they respond with, I would have wanted to make the story more intuitive and easily understood, but I fear that would result in Abby becoming an audience surrogate a la Paimon, Vryn, or any other yapper. Also, I've seen the redesign of Shorekeeper being more artificial looking, like Hoseki no Kuni, gems, and I think designs like that would go hard AF. Considering we have the potential with as of unrevealed artificial resonators classification. Okay, and they say here, I think the last improvement I could ask for is for more dudes, but there's already way too many people screeching about it, so I'm partial to it, not gonna lie. I mean, I can definitely agree with the more males sentiment. I thought the same thing, because one of the main things I remember a lot of people praising Wuthering Waves for when it was first announced and their character roster was first announced was like the relatively even balance of male to female characters, and we had the assumption that Wuthering Waves was going to continue on with roughly keeping that same ratio. I think it was, I can't remember exactly, it was like 10 males and 12 or 13 females at the time. But ever since then, it's basically just been female character after female character. We did get Zhangli Yao, who's a fantastic DPS, but all the characters so far, Jinsa, Changli, Yohu, Lumi, Camellia, and then just Zhangli Yao. So we've got 5 girls to 1 guy. I mean, come on, give us a few more like really cool looking guys, Kuro, please. I would really like that. This person here says, raid bosses, guild system, PvP but should be similar to Tekken or even Naruto Ninja Storm. If not, platform fighting mode like Smash where it's a 3-person Royal Rumble, items and builds should not matter. Okay, so on the raid bosses, I've been saying this like ever since the very, very start, even before Wuthering Waves came out, that I really hope that they implement some kind of raid instance game mechanic where, like when you go in for a particular dungeon area, you join up to get into a team of 3, but for raids I think they should go up to maybe teams of 6 or maybe even 7, if not a few more, and then you go through an instance-based map, make it like a randomly generated, like having different sections, and you go from one location to another location, and you defeat all the enemies and the mobs on the way there, have a few mid-bosses, And at the very end, we get some new like Goliathan-sized, gigantic bosses to fight. I'm thinking something along the same size of like the Giocolon turtle weekly boss that we currently have as well. Get more bosses like that, at that size, but make them a little bit harder. That it requires teamwork. Means it would be really beneficial to have team like supports and your attack as well, and your shielders, and you have all these nice little team comps that you all have to like strategize with each other before going into the dungeon in order to clear it. In terms of like what would be the benefit of doing that, maybe they could do it so the same thing that they currently have, where you can do these raids and you can get the rewards for these raids 3 times per week, and have them be like substantial rewards as well. And you can do that. You can do that 3 times a week to get the rewards, but you can do it even more. But you just wouldn't get the rewards, because we can't just have something that would like pump out an infinite amount of rewards, because that would really ruin the balancing of the game system itself. But I definitely agree on the raid bosses. Guild system, I don't exactly know how that would be implemented, unless they go on to, like, as this person says here, like a PvP, but similar to Tekken, where I can see that where people have a choice of pre-built characters that are all at the same stats and all that sort of thing, and it is much more dependent on your ability as a gamer, as a player, to use those characters in effective ways to defeat certain opponents, PvP opponents, and that way it's not just heavily skewed to the whales that can just like get full-on sequence 6, ascension level 5, or what. Make it so it's fun for all people and not just the whales, honestly. So I can see that makes pretty good. The Royal Rumble would be an interesting mode. I'm wondering if would it be like a side scroller as well, a side platformer type thing as it is in Smash as well. Okay. Rover's like a god at this point in a humble way, so I want to see more Resonators who see him or her as an entity who deserves the highest respect instead of romanticizing themselves with Rover. Yeah, true. I would like to see more non-human Resonators too. That could be interesting. They did have like Ling Yang. Was more like animalistic in his design in the CPT-1, like in the early designs, but he got a full makeover to be more as we know him now. Marco Meatball, this is just be a video game. Okay. Make daily super easy and fast. I mean, I think they're pretty fast enough as it is. Fix the phone issues for the love of God and start releasing cool original characters that aren't copies of other games. Okay, so fix the phone issues. I think optimization is always something that we will always be asking for in all of our games, to be honest. The more optimized, the better. For anything, really. It's just as simple as that. Same thing, I am playing on PC, and my system is not that shabby. It's pretty good. I've got more than enough RAM. My GPU is pretty good. I think I might be a little bit CPU bottlenecked, but even still, when I log in, I do notice some stutters that I've heard is mainly like the assets like preloading into memory to be more easily accessed later on, but still it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. And releasing cool original characters that aren't copies of other games. I'm guessing they might be talking about characters such as Kalkaro, because he is basically just a Sephiroth ripoff. Come on, let's just call a spade. We all know that. And I can agree, but still I think putting him aside, I think the characters that we have so far are pretty interesting and pretty fun to use and play with. I particularly like using Zhangli Yao. I still stand by that. I don't really like his design too much. I much prefer his darker design. Like it's something out of Kingdom Hearts, you know, like Organization 13. It's kind of giving me that kind of vibe. I really like that. Putting him aside, like again, Jinsa, Jian, Changli, and all those other characters, I think they're pretty they're designed pretty well. So I'm not sure. I don't think I agree entirely with this comment here. It's pretty good as it is right now. Fun buses, so they don't really have any particular issues. They just say more map, more areas to explore, so that people have more reason to spend time playing it and exploring it. Actually, I'm not too sure about this one. I've been hearing a bit of like 50-50 on that, of people that are saying that they're already too tired. They're too tired and they're too exhausted with having these massive, vast open worlds to explore, and they don't really have the time to go through each nook and cranny to find and 100% all the regions. So I have heard that some people are saying that they're tired of how big things are. But again, people such as this person here there are also those people as well that say no, more maps, more regions, more everything. Just give us all the things, you know. So I'm not really sure how they can get that balance to hit both. Maybe they'll just have to abandon one side or the other and make it more make the maps not too big, but have them more condensed with stuff. Like have them more packed with stuff, so it doesn't feel as empty in certain regions. So I think maybe they could do it that way, but we'll just have to see. Co-op Hollows is definitely a step in the right direction. Yep, we had that in the latest update. And as for story, well, whatever people say, it's undeniable that it's getting better. Story, I think the story has been getting better, although I do have to say in the latest 1.3, there were some things about the story that I didn't really particularly enjoy. Mainly my gripe that I was like, kind of raging on stream when I was going through it, is that they were giving dialogue options that weren't really options. It was just a single dialogue box that you can't choose anything else just to continue the dialogue cutscene. Stop that. Just stop. I didn't like it when Genshin did it. I didn't like it when Honkai Star did it. I don't like it when any other game does it. I'm not going to give them a pass just because it's Wuthering Waves. No. I hate that. I hate that whenever they do that. And I also hate it when they give us two options that are basically the same thing. It's saying like, are you okay? And then the other one will be like, is everything all right? It's asking the same question. Don't give me options unless my option makes some kind of difference in how the characters respond to me. That just gets on my nerves. I would much rather prefer that they don't give us the options and just play the entire cutscene out, like put it on auto, play the entire cutscene out, or give us the option to put it on auto and just have it all play out and have it fully voiced, so I can just sit back and enjoy it. Because I was enjoying the story for what it was, but I was getting really like, okay, go, click. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, click. And I really didn't enjoy that. That was something that really got on my nerves. So, and also I didn't really understand like some parts right at the very end where, again, we did have the dialogue option, but some parts at the very end cutscene with Shorekeeper, some parts from Rover were voiced, and some parts that I thought really should have been voiced weren't. And I just think they dropped the ball on that particular scene as well. There were some other things, other minor gripes, but those are my main two big issues. Just, if you're going to give us a cutscene, whether it be a cinematic cutscene or a dialogue cutscene, just let us be able to take our hands off the mouse keyboard, off the controller, and just enjoy it for what it is. Co-op challenges, no PvP shit. So this person is saying the opposite of what the other person is saying. Just co-op challenges, like the co-op holo event right now. So they're saying just more co-op stuff, but no PvP. Okay. Do it's been doing, so they're saying that they're enjoying things as they are. I'm really asking like what they want to see in the future, because we can't just have something be as it is, because it would get stagnant. That's literally the meaning of the word stagnant, to remain unchanged. And when things are unchanged, they tend to fester, really. But they're saying just keep giving us good changes to the game. But again, changes, like what do you want changed? That's what I'm asking. So I don't know. Good story or lore? I mean, we've touched on that. I think the story is all right. It's not too bad. Just keep listening to the players in moderation and keep doing what they did in Parch 1.3. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Make it so good. To make it so good. Cinematics, music, story, characters. Again, the music in the latest 1.3 was really good. I've got to say that. And also keep the good marketing. Yep, they've always got to keep marketing, got to keep putting it out there. Make themselves relevant with it, even in dry filler patches. I mean, yeah, sure, but you can't really hinge a game solely on its music, on its OST. You have to have more content. It's a game. It's something. It's an interactive medium. There's got to be things in there for us to interact with, and that's one of the things I really have issue with in a lot of games, to be honest, where they're taking away a lot of that interactivity, which I think it sounds a bit hypocritical of me saying that, because I just said that I don't want to interact with the story, but I think it's different. With the story cutscenes, I want to enjoy the cutscenes, but when it comes to actual gameplay, I want to be as interactive with it as possible, if that makes sense. The story needs to keep improving. Okay, sure. Overworld mobs drop too little mats. I can see that, yep. Make elusive IL. Did I mean elusive realm? Okay. Permanent with weekly rewards like Simulated Universe in HSR. Also make story-related events permanent like HSR. Okay, yeah, I can agree with make story-related events permanent like HSR does. Again, I actually think that they should make character quests replayable. Make them permanent and replayable, so you can go into a certain location to like revisit memories, because we already have the thing in lore where we go basically back in time and experience, not actually through time itself, but like go through and experience the, for lack of a better term, echo of the past and experience that. So they could do the same thing where we could do the exact same thing but with the character's story quest, because there are so many locations in Wuthering Waves that they're so beautifully designed, and the fact that we can only see them in that one time that we go through that story quest is it's just such a waste in my opinion. And so I think that they really do need to implement something in there to more permanent, replayable events and quests and that sort of thing. I think that'd be really good. And on the topic of Two Little Mats, I think also when you're hunting the overworld mobs as well, when you get an echo, I think you should also get some echo experience as well, like just like extra as well. Because I think like the cost to benefit to get echo experience from the tacit fields is just far too low in my opinion. In fact, I haven't been using any of my my crystal solvents yet, because I'm saving all those, because I'm hoping to God for that sometime in the future that they're going to either reduce the cost for tacit fields like even more, and or implement a new area with Jan for the training simulation to give us only echo experience capsules, because it's just not enough. Like 60 wave plates to get enough capsules to basically go up just a few levels, that's not nearly enough in my opinion. And because my inventory is getting filled out with echoes so far, and they're practically useless at this point. So yeah, the fact that we can't use those echoes as experience fodder is just such a shame, and it's really not the best idea in my opinion. Because a lot of people will say, oh, if they make that experience as well, then it would ruin the grind, for example. I don't think so as well, because you can go through all these different echoes and still not get the perfect echo that you want, or even close to the perfect echo that you want, because it could just roll badly, it could roll poorly. So I don't really think it would ruin the grind for echo or echo experience, because there's going to be more characters, and you're going to want to build new sets and different sets for each of these different characters for them to have for themselves. So I don't really buy that as an excuse to say that they shouldn't implement that kind of system in this game. They need to continue to be transparent and receptive with its players, add more echoes per patch, add more phantom echoes rather than 2, and allow them to spawn randomly. I'm a Pokemon fan, I want to hunt for shinies, and I hate that that they made phantom so accessible and boring. I can agree with this one. Yeah, I mean, when we heard that they were going to make like basically shiny like phantom echoes, I knew a lot of people that were really excited to go out there and really grind and hunt for and try to find these what we thought were going to be elusive, no pun intended, echoes in the overworld, but they have made it relatively easy to find them. Like if you go to this location at this particular time, you can find one. Then it's that kind of thing. They should have made it much more rarer for them to show up in the wild. And it shouldn't be just at certain locations. It should be just any location that those mobs spawn. Like any random mob has the small chance to become a shiny version, a phantom version of themselves. So I can understand that. That makes sense. I would say echo and monster variation depth. Actually like hard to find echoes. Oh yes, event weapons and a rival system and enemy with strengths and weaknesses. Series of fights and sometimes jump in boss fights. Sometimes series of fights and sometimes jump in I'm not entirely too sure what they mean by that. Maybe like bosses that are more like RNG, like instead of having the bosses that we know that they're going to be there at this specific time, maybe some more like a random event type bosses in the overworld. Maybe I'm not entirely too sure what this person means. Not immediately going to a dead patch when 2.0 releases. Ooh. Skins would set it apart, since Kuro always cooks with skins, and the costume art we've seen has been in hot demand. I'd like to see them switch between regions regularly so things stay fresh and come back to stuff later. I agree. I think Kuro is leaving way too much money on the table that they have all these designs that we've seen in the like IRL collab events. Like we've seen Shorekeeper in this like really nice summer dress with the hat, and she looks absolutely stunning and amazingly beautiful in all these designs. And a lot of other things like Jinsa and Changli, they all have such great other like versions of themselves in these IRL collab events, but they don't have them in the game yet. I mean, they really do need to start bringing I think they should bring out at least 1 or 2 skins for each character. And what I think they should do is like there are some characters that I feel that are not really designed all the best, to be honest. Like, for example, Verena as well. I mean, a lot of people dog on Verena for having one of the worst designs, and I have to agree. Like, putting aside that she looks like a child, that's not really my thing. But I think her design just is objectively not the best. So they need to start, like, bringing out these skins as a way to, like, give the characters, like, a do-over. Like, just redo their designs. So it's like, okay, yeah, that design wasn't the best. Here's this one. And that they can just give those designs, give some designs for free. Just like say, oh yeah, we kind of messed up with that one, use this one instead. And then people have the choice as well. And I think people will be really receptive to being given all these free designs, all these free skins, and then also have these really, really well-designed skins as well that people can either grind for and also whale for. I mean, that's how they usually make a lot of their money on PGR, if I remember correctly. I know they have a lot of different like gacha systems in PGR, but I think they do earn quite a bit of money on their skins. So I think with them not implementing skins in Wuthering Waves, they should have had them like 1.0, maybe 1.1 at latest, in my opinion. But the fact that they don't have them already, it's leaving a lot of money on the table. And I think they should really, really get on that post-haste. Releasing more male characters, okay. The game's fine as it is. Better optimization, yeah. New region and stories about the characters, like Kalkro, who's here by himself without an introduction. Collabs, hard, okay. Kalkro doesn't have his character story. I don't think Verena has her character story. We got a lot of other characters, also like Yuan Wu. I mean, I know Yuan Wu's a 4-star, but even still, a lot of the 4-stars, I think some of the 4-stars, if not all of them, deserve some degree of having their own character story as well. Like, we saw Yuan Wu at the end of Act 6 in 1.0, where he shows up for the whole, like, Avengers Assemble type scene, and a lot of people were like, what, who is this dude? Like, we've seen him in, like, we get him for free after we do the Tower of Adversity, yeah, sure, but, like, who is this guy? Why is he showing up out of nowhere? It seems like a waste. And if you actually read through the backstory of who Yuan Wu is and his place in the world, it's actually quite interesting. He seems like a really, really cool dude. But I really do think that they need to make more use of the characters that they already have, as well as introduce some more characters. Just like, again, like a lot of people are saying as well, just more content, more of this, more of that, just more of everything. But yeah, I can see that. I want them to actually follow what they want to do with Wuthering Waves in the first place, taking risk by not bending their knees to the CN incels' demand. I want this game to be more than a typical gacha. I know my expectations are not realistic, and I'm starting to lose hope, to be honest. I think what they're talking about here is the complete difference in vibe from CPT1 to CPT2, and then from CPT2 to official. Where in CPT1, there were a lot more, like, the other characters tended to be more wary of Rover, if not outright hostile. And to be honest, I actually appreciated that dynamic more, because we already have a lot of these other different games where we are the center of the universe and everyone loves us, like, straight off the bat. So I really did appreciate it, where we started from a position of weakness, I think is what I want to say. And not weakness in like power levels, but in terms of like our standing in the world, where we are not trusted by everyone else. So I would have liked it where we started from that position, and through going through our story and doing these quests and beating these monsters and going through and progressing through the story, we slowly earn the trust of everyone around us. So I think that would have like felt much more better for us as players. Like, for example, if we have a character that really like hated us in the beginning, but through our actions we somehow win them over to our side, and then maybe after that, depending on how the story goes, then they might fall in love with us. I think a lot of people would really resonate with that. My proof of concept for that is actually from ReZero, where Subaru, when he first goes to the mansion, he meets Rem and Ram. Like, Rem was killing him. Like, Rem was the reason why he was dying. I mean, spoiler alert, but if you've not seen it so far, that's your fault, sorry. But like, Rem was killing him while he was asleep, and he was like running away from her because she was trying to really kill this guy. And then through his actions and through the story progressing, he wins Rem over to his side, and then eventually she becomes basically his wife. Like, she is absolutely in love with Subaru at this point. And I think a lot of people really, really did appreciate that turn, and seeing Subaru's growth as a character and him winning over these people that didn't like him at all. I mean, the same thing for Emilia too. Like, she was like, okay, you stay over there. Like, she was friendly to him, but she was like, yeah, calm down. But then she does start to warm up to him as well as the story progresses. I think that's what I wanted to see happen in Wuthering Waves as well. I mean, we're already like almost up to what 1.4 right now, and we're too far gone, but I would like to see more characters in the future that aren't instantly fond of Rover and treated Rover with a bit more skepticism. Like, I want to see Rover win people over through their story, instead of just things being given to him and handed to them on a silver platter, like him being the center of the universe. You know what I mean. Do not succumb to goon bait and waifu simulator. I mean, I think this goes into what we were just saying. So, yeah, 2 characters per patch, along with good storylines. It's basically just it. I don't really think characters count as new content, really. I mean, new characters are good, sure, but content is content. Characters are not content, not in my opinion, anyway. Skins, holograms, bosses, yeah. Combat system, more interesting, more characters to pull, yeah, sure. They need to cater to a more general audience, which means people who want more male characters. It's easy for them to keep a balance, especially, but instead they keep pushing away potential and existing players by having 2 females per patch, one after the other. I mean, yeah, this is like kind of going into what we was just saying earlier about more male characters. Don't have everyone just instantly fall in love with Rover. And so I'm seeing more of this type of response. More skill test enemies. Literally the strongest unique point of Wuthering Waves is having a combat gameplay that's even better than combat focused gachas, except for its older sibling PGR. And the thing that can improve this is the enemy design, be it common mooks, sub-bosses or bosses. Mooks, they mean like mobs, common mobs. I'm seeing a lot of the same thing, optimization, skins, male units. I try not to cater to the general audience. We're getting like conflicting reports here, like what people want. It's really hard because you can't really please everyone. I mean, if you chase 2 hares, you catch none, as the saying goes. And make 2.0 break the normie barrier. Some infinity game modes, like the door event, should be permanent and be more like Binding of Isaac. That would be awesome. So I'm guessing like just like wave after wave after wave, and then you try to see like, until what wave you can get to. I think what they're talking about, which would be pretty interesting. Again, at some point it will probably turn into like more of a damage check, where if you can't clear the wave, then you're out of luck, really. But yeah, that would be a pretty interesting game mode, I think. Stop being a gacha game. Guilds, more men. I'm seeing quite a few people saying that they want more men in the game. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all that people were saying, and I can agree with a lot of it. Some of it I didn't really understand entirely too much. Like, say, make it more interesting. I mean, that's very subjective, but yeah, this is the stuff that people were saying that they wanted from Wuthering Waves. But what about you? What do you want from Wuthering Waves? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.